Welcome, my friends, to ArtHouse Radio. I'm Troy, your host, your forever friend. On this episode, I wanted to go back to something that I had done years ago, quite regularly, on the audio format of the podcast. Now there's video. That's what you're watching. But in the past, I would quite often maybe put up a video of Terence McKenna or Alan Watts, and then just talk about it, or do it beforehand and then play the talk afterwards, like a 30-minute lecture that they would give. So I want to kind of revisit that a little bit here. And I was just I'm in Portland, Oregon, by the way, streaming live. Beautiful Portland, Oregon. It's been cold, but today it's nice. The sun is out. People are in the park, late afternoon. Beautiful setting. Great time to be alive. And there's a bookstore here called New Renaissance, close to where I used to live. We may or may not have just walked past an apartment that I used to live at. I like to reminisce, I like to hit the highlights, take a stroll through memory lane in the present tense. Anyway, I went in there and a very lovely young woman recommended Thich Nhat Hanh to me. I told her I was into Alan Watts, Terence McKenna, Marcel Duchamp, things like that, and she pointed me in this direction. I bought a book that's kind of like a beginner's guide to Thich Nhat Hanh. It's kind of like the greatest hits, so to speak. And I thought it would be good to read. I've been reading the first 4 pages over and over again, and I thought I'm quite taken with them. And I figured I might just read them to you, and then we can go from there. Maybe we can have a conversation in the comments below. So that's pretty much it. Before I go into it, though, let me just remind you of 2 things. 1, please subscribe below. It's as good as gold. Algorithms and all that helps us out tremendously. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. 2, you can follow everywhere at arthouse.radio, and I'm at Spaces with Light. I say everywhere, I mean Instagram. I think I'm gonna maybe start doing a Twitch live stream, but outside of Instagram, I'm not interested. But whatever. All right. So this is the first chapter, A Life of Miracles, and these are the first 2 pages, which are pretty short. As we sit down next to a stream, we can listen to its laughter and watch its sparkling waters, noticing the pebbles glistening and the fresh green plants nearby, and we may be overcome with happiness. We are one with the stream's freshness, purity, and clarity, but in just an instant we may find we've had enough. Our heart is troubled, and we may think of other things. We are no longer at one with the stream. It is of no use to sit in a peaceful forest if our mind is lost in the city. When we live with a child or a friend, their freshness and warmth can relax us. But if our heart is not with them, their precious presence is neglected and they no longer exist. We must be aware of them to appreciate their value, to allow them to be our happiness. If through carelessness and forgetfulness we become dissatisfied with them and begin asking too much of them or reprimanding them, we will lose them. Only after they are gone will we realize their preciousness and feel regret. But once they are gone, all of our regrets are in vain. Around us, life bursts forth with miracles. A glass of water, a ray of sunshine, a leaf, a caterpillar, a flower, laughter, raindrops. If you live in awareness, it is easy to see miracles everywhere. Each human being is a multiplicity of miracles. Eyes that see thousands of colors, shapes, and forms. Ears that hear a bee flying or a thunderclap. A brain that ponders a speck of dust as easily as the entire cosmos. A heart that beats in rhythm with the heartbeat of all beings. When we are tired and feel discouraged by life's daily struggles, we may not notice these miracles, but they are always there. Have a look at the apple tree in your yard. This guy's got an apple tree in his yard. No wonder he's happy. Look at it with complete attention. It is truly a miracle. If you notice it, you will take good care of it. And you too are part of its miraculousness. Even after you have cared for it for only a week, its leaves are already greener and shinier. God, that's got to be true, right? It is exactly the same with people who are around you. Under the influence of awareness, you become more attentive, understanding, and loving. And your presence not only nourishes you and makes you lovelier, it enhances them as well. Our entire society can be changed by one person's peaceful presence. Our minds create everything. The majestic mountaintop, brilliant with snow, is you yourself when you contemplate it. Its existence depends on your awareness. When you close your eyes, as long as your mind is present, the mountain is there. Sitting in meditation with several sense windows closed, you feel the presence of the whole universe. Why? Because the mind is there. If your eyes are closed, it is so that you see better. The sights and sounds of the world are not your enemies. Your enemy is forgetfulness, the absence of mindfulness. There's a lot to take in there. The thing I like about it is taking care of yourself, nourishing yourself, and how that nourishes people around you. The idea that you can have a tree or a plant and improve the look of it simply by the way you talk to it, or you care for it, or you look at it, or you interact with it, is really, seems obvious, but it's also quite interesting. Like in 7th grade, I did this science experiment. Didn't care about science at the time, at least. Just wanted to get through it. I'd say until I was in college, I didn't really care about academic work at all. Just didn't see how relevant it was to my life. And I think I was right to think that at the time. But anyway, I did a science experiment where I wanted to see the effect of different kinds of music on plants. And I had one plant that would hear Beethoven or something like Mozart or something, and another plant which I played like Metallica, Kill 'Em All or something. And I think I embellished the answers a little bit. Like the one that listened to Metallica was depressed, and it wore T-shirts that said like "Kill them" or "Goth is my way" or whatever it is. And then the classical one just was like booming with life, and it was happy, and it had 2 kids and a picket fence and all that. But it's there, right? It's interesting to think about how we treat those little things around us, like the plants and the trees, and how our interaction with them affects it. One thing I want to go back to that was actually in the foreword, it was previous to the chapter that I read for you, is this. And it's a foreword by Melvin McLeod. This is the sentence that kind of like got me thinking, okay, this is going to be a good book. I'm not going to pronounce these right. In the Mahayana Buddhist tradition from which Thich Nhat Hanh comes, personal liberation is never enough. Until all are healed, none is healed. Personal liberation is never enough. Until all are healed, none is healed. That's pretty fascinating. For some reason when I think about things like that, politics comes to mind, and I really dislike that it does. I wish that it didn't, because politics is the kind of thing that divides people. It makes people think like somebody who, if I'm a fan of certain things said by people that would be deemed conservative or right-leaning. But if they heard that, they would think, well, that's communist propaganda or something. Maybe I'm just projecting that I think that that's what they would say. But it's beautiful. I don't care what ideology it is. The idea that you have to lift up the things around you as well as yourself is a beautiful thing. I don't see that as a divisive thing. I don't see that as a thing that keeps people down. Now, if somebody comes in to the world aggressively and maybe demands that you do that, that's one thing. But I think the idea that people willingly open up to the idea that until all is healed, none are healed. If people open up to that idea willingly, I think it's a beautiful thing. How could it not be? All right, should we go to chapter 2? Let's do it. All right, this chapter is called Your True Home. Your true home is in the here and the now. It is not limited by space, time, nationality, or race. Your true home is not an abstract idea. It is something you can touch and live in every moment. With mindfulness and concentration, the energies of the Buddha, you can find your true home in the full relaxation of your mind and body in the present moment. No one can take it away from you. Other people can occupy your country, they can even put you in prison, but they cannot take away your true home and your freedom. When we stop speaking and thinking and enjoy deeply our in and out breath, we are enjoying being in our true home, and we can touch deeply the wonders of life. This is the path shown to us by the Buddha. When you breathe in, you bring all yourself together, body and mind. You become one. Equipped with that energy of mindfulness and concentration, you may take a step. And if you can take one mindful step, you can take another and another. You have the insight that this is your true home. You are alive. You are fully present. You are touching life as a reality. Your true home is a solid reality that you can touch with your feet, with your hands, and with your mind. It is fundamental that you touch your true home and realize your true home in the here and the now. All of us have the seed of mindfulness and concentration in us. By taking a mindful breath or a mindful step, you can bring your mind back to your body. In your daily life, your body and mind often go in two different directions. You're in a state of distraction, mind in one place, body in another. Your body is putting on a coat, but your mind is preoccupied, caught in the past or in the future. But between your mind and your body, there is something, your breath. As soon as you go home to your breath and you breathe with awareness, your body and mind come together very quickly. While breathing in, you don't think of anything. You just focus your attention on your in-breath. Or your out-breath, maybe? I don't know. You focus. You invest 100% of yourself in your breath. You become your in-breath. There is concentration on your in-breath that will make body and mind come together in just one moment, and suddenly you find yourself fully present, fully alive. Beautiful. So, reading that chapter, and there was actually another book where he talked about being happy or present wherever you are, which is a big thing that Ram Dass talks about too. It kind of struck home with him because on this journey, this roadkill project, ArtHouse43.com, this is where you are.com, being present has been a big thing with me for a long time, but particularly on this journey because there were times where I felt, I was driving the mountains in Utah or in Idaho or in Eastern Oregon, and I just felt overwhelmed by the whole thing, and the idea of being present and trusting yourself and trying to be mindful of the moment and knowing that many years later, while I lay dying in my bed, what would I give for all the days between this day and that to enjoy the freedom of seeing the things that I was seeing, of being able to appreciate those moments and living in those moments. So to just be able to focus on my breath, which I'm walking uphill right now, that's why I'm running out of breath. That's a huge thing, but it's kind of hard for me to trust in that. I feel like in some ways, maybe I feel like there's got to be more than that. There's got to be more of an explanation. Like how can I rely on just my breath to get me through situations? Doesn't seem enough. I mean, it does seem enough, but there's a voice in my head that says like, that's not enough. Come on, you need more. You need get a drink. You gotta have an edible, have a cookie, do something, get yourself comfortable, get enough money in the bank. Then you can focus on your breathing. Right now, don't focus on that. We're going to call Comcast and go, hey, listen, I'm just kind of focusing on my breath right now, so I don't really have any money to give you. And they'll be like, oh, okay, well then we're gonna call the cops or whatever you do. I don't know what they do. Do they throw you in prison for not paying your bills? Maybe in the 1500s. I don't know. But it's not that I've read this book, right? It's that I've just bought this book and I've started reading it, and that I'm going through this journey. So maybe there are going to be a lot of episodes where I sort of talk about this. So I wanted to read the beginnings of this book so that anybody who watches this could not necessarily come along for the journey, which sounds fucking cheesy, but maybe, you know what, maybe it's not cheesy. Maybe you're cheesy if you just agree with that. Just tricked you into a moment there. But, you know, maybe somebody could, maybe you can make comments below. Maybe you could send me an email, and you can tell me what you think of things, because I'm never going to pull all these things off on my own. I'm not here as like a podcaster or a person talking and telling you like these are the answers that I have. Sometimes I do have answers, but most of the time, or sometimes I don't. And so I'm here just sort of existing, bouncing ideas off of this phone, hoping to connect with something about this process, or something about the people on the other side of this video watching this. And if you don't comment or you don't interact with it, then I don't, that's fine. Maybe I'm sure there are plenty of things to learn out of me just doing this. But there are also things to be learned about people who are watching this on the other side, you, who write to me and tell me what you think about the things that I've read. You can go back and listen to them. I'm sure you can probably find these writings online. What do you think? What do these things say to you? To me, they've said a lot. I need more time to analyze it and to absorb it, and maybe in future podcasts I will be able to talk more about that, but that's the beginning of that journey. All right. Thank you for listening. I'm Troy. This has been ArtHouse Radio, the Roadkill Project. I'm in Portland, Oregon. Follow everywhere at arthouse.radio. I'm at Spaces with Light, and you can go to arthouse43.com. This is where you are.com. And we're on Patreon, patreon.com/arthouseradio, if you want to join for $3 a month. Not too much to ask. It's been a long 8 months of COVID. And if you have enjoyed music, podcasts, film, television, books, then you know the importance of the arts, because you wouldn't have gotten through it otherwise, I bet. So this is one artist, one podcaster, one thinker trying to say $3 a month if you like this show, if you watch it regularly, if you interact with it. Think about it. $3 a month, there are some discounts involved or some benefits other than just the fact that you get to support something that is asking for your support or that needs your support. Your support means everything. All right.